Welcome to Perhaps Today Global News Report, where the Bible is believed from Genesis to Revelation, and the headlines prove that prophecy is history written in advance. While the institutions of government, religion, and finance quickly converge into a new and dangerously powerful global world order, Perhaps Today Global News highlights these things for you who desire truth.
Please support our channel by shopping on our YouTube store.
This week's Global News Report will start in Israel and the push for peace and the humanitarian crisis. This headline here demonstrates that democracy and a two-state solution from the Council on Foreign Relations explores the relationship between democracy and the two-state solution in resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The argument remains that achieving a lasting peace agreement requires both a democratic Israel and a democratic Palestinian state. It contends that democracy is essential for ensuring the legitimacy and sustainability of any peace agreement. While both Israel and Palestine try to resolve issues of governance, human rights violations, and political polarization. But despite these challenges, there's an emphasis on the importance of promoting democratic principles and institutions as part of a peace-building process, underscoring the interconnectedness of democracy and the two-state solution, advocating for a comprehensive approach that addresses political, economic, and social dimensions of the conflict. Next, we have a famine in Gaza may bring a genocidal ruling against the nation of Israel. It discusses the dire humanitarian situation happening currently in Gaza, where experts warn of impending famine that could lead to a genocidal ruling against Israel. Gaza's economy has been devastated by years of conflict, blockades, and the COVID-19 pandemic, exacerbating food insecurity and poverty levels. Aid agencies report alarming rates of malnutrition among children and a lack of access to essential services like clean water and basic health care. International humanitarian law defines genocide as the intentional destruction in whole or in part of a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. Wonder where that's happened before. And some experts argue that Israel's policies towards Gaza could meet this criterion if they lead to widespread starvation and death. The article highlights the urgent need for international action to address the root causes of the crisis and prevent further suffering in Gaza. Often, we're asked what should be our stance, whose side are we on? I let the scriptures tell me what side I should be on. James 1:27 says, pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction and to keep himself unspotted from the world. Matthew 25:40 states, and the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done unto one of the least of my brothers, ye have done it unto me. And finally, Proverbs 21:13 is clear. Whoso stoppeth his ears at the cry of the poor, he shall also cry himself, but not be heard. So be careful. Now we move to financial news. Let's turn our attention to a growing trend in global finance, and that is blockchain technologies and cryptocurrencies. The first article talks about Elon Musk saying the circle will be complete. He issues a shock prediction that could cause Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, which is Ripple, Dogecoin, and crypto price chaos. The article discusses the potential impacts of artificial intelligence on the future of jobs and the workforce. It highlights a report by the World Economic Forum, which predicts that by 2025, artificial intelligence and automation could displace 85 million jobs, but it could also create 97 million new ones, resulting in a net gain. However, this transformation will require significant reskilling and upskilling of workers to adapt to changing job requirements. The report emphasizes the importance of proactive measures by governments and businesses to facilitate this transition, including investing in education and training programs. Additionally, it suggests that AI will reshape industries and job roles, leading to a shift towards more digital and remote working arrangements. Despite concerns about job displacement, it also suggests that AI could ultimately lead to greater productivity, innovation, and economic growth if managed effectively. Next, experts think Bitcoin tech is the future of finance and that blockchain could potentially change the way banks work. And so, insights from finance experts discussing the potential impact of Bitcoin and blockchain tech on the financial sector state that some express optimism about blockchain's ability to streamline financial processes, reduce fraud, and lower transaction costs. Others remain cautious due to concerns about security, scalability, and regulatory issues. Some experts highlight the transformative potential of blockchain beyond Bitcoin, emphasizing its role in revolutionizing various industries, including healthcare, supply chain management, and voting systems. However, there are skeptics that argue that widespread adoption of blockchain faces significant challenges, including interoperability, resistance from traditional finance institutions. Excuse me. Overall, the article portrays a mixed outlook among finance professionals regarding the future of Bitcoin and blockchain tech, acknowledging both the potential benefits and the hurdles that need to be overcome for broader acceptance and integration into mainstream financial systems. More to come. Finally, we know the Bitcoin halving will be happening here very soon, and why this 20-month high is a sign of things to come, according to the article. It discusses a significant increase in Bitcoin accumulation by long-term investors as the next halving event approaches. It highlights data indicating a surge in the number of Bitcoin addresses holding at least 1,000 Bitcoin, suggesting increased interest from institutional investors and high net worth individuals. The impending halving, which reduces the rate of new Bitcoin issuance, is seen as a bullish indicator by many investors who anticipate a potential supply shock and subsequent price appreciation. Additionally, the article mentions the growing institutional adoption of Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation and economic uncertainty, further driving accumulation. However, it also notes that importance of monitoring market dynamics and investor sentiment leading up to the halving, as uncertainty and volatility remains inherent in the cryptocurrency market. Overall, Bitcoin accumulation is on the rise in anticipation of this halving event, reflecting growing confidence in its long-term value proposition. Now, Bitcoin is considered a store of value, similar to gold or silver. So to watch institutional investors and large net worth individuals accumulating it, this is something I think we should all pay attention to. Next is a short video highlighting 3D printed homes are being built in order to cut emissions. We're going to see a lot more discussion on how we cut down on our global emissions. And so 3D printed homes, if you've heard of 3D printing, if this becomes more prevalent, it will, as we just discussed, a greater change in the job market and how people need to be reskilled or upskilled. So here, listen to this short piece on 3D printed homes and what could be the effects or the benefits of cutting emissions.
Yes. God.
Yeah.
Why is it called 14 trees?
It's called 14 trees because for every house that we build, we save 14 trees.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next, we'll talk about the year of VR glasses or virtual reality glasses will will morph this decade into augmented reality. The evolution of virtual reality glasses into augmented reality devices and predicts that the 2020s will be the decade of AR. It highlights the limitations of VR, such as the need for bulky headsets and the isolation from the real world, which have hindered its mass adoption. But in contrast, augmented reality overlays digital content onto our real world, offering more practical applications and potential for widespread use. If you remember the Pokemon Go phenomena from a few years ago, the advancements in augmented reality tech, driven by major tech companies like Apple and Facebook or Meta, will lead to smaller, more fashionable AR glasses that seamlessly integrate into everyday life. These AR glasses are expected to revolutionize varying industries, including gaming, healthcare, education, and retail, by enhancing user experiences and productivity. Overall, the article suggests that AR will surpass VR in terms of mainstream adoption and cultural impact in the coming decade. Sticking to the tech news and jobs and the impact in jobs and education, massive changes coming to Google Chrome threaten to reshape our modern internet. This article discusses significant upcoming changes to Google Chrome that could reshape the modern internet. Google's plan to phase out third-party cookies, which track user behavior across websites for targeted advertising, will profoundly impact digital advertising strategies and revenue models. This move follows increasing privacy concerns and regulatory scrutiny over online tracking practices. Instead of individual tracking, Google proposes a new privacy focused approach called Federated Learning of Cohorts, or FLoC, which groups users based on similar interests while preserving individual anonymity. However, critics argue that FLoC still poses privacy risks and may not fully address concerns about online tracking. Additionally, Google's dominance in the browser market means that these changes will have far reaching implications for the entire digital ecosystem, including advertisers, publishers, and you, the user. Overall, the article suggests that Google Chrome evolving privacy policies are poised to reshape the landscape of online advertising and user privacy on the internet. We are witnessing technological advances faster today or over the last 150 years than potentially in the previous 3,000 years. Now, there are two interpretations of this next scripture in Daniel 12:4, with most believing it states that knowledge would increase of the prophecies of Daniel, but it also speaks to the increase of worldly knowledge. And it states, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." We are witnessing the multiplication of knowledge to the nth degree that at this point, nothing is impossible for man. This next article again highlights our favorite billionaire, Elon Musk, and it's called The Rise of the Work Drug. He's taking ketamine, and techies are microdosing mushrooms. So now we have to ask, is it okay to do drugs at work now? This article explores the growing trend of using psychedelics like LSD, psilocybin, and ketamine for therapeutic purposes, including microdosing and retreats. It highlights testimonials from individuals, including some high profile figures like Elon Musk, who claim benefits such as enhanced creativity, productivity, and mental well being. I would challenge anyone to consider what could be the long term effects instead of just the short term gains. However, it also raises concerns about the lack of regulation and potential risk associated with psychedelic use, including the risk of triggering psychosis or exacerbating underlying mental health conditions amongst its users. From a biblical perspective, The dangers of psychedelic drug use can be viewed through scripture advocating for sobriety, sound mindedness, and avoiding practices that alter one's state of consciousness. Additionally, the Bible warns against sorcery and pharmakeia, which is where we get the modern word pharmacy, which encompasses the use of mind altering substances for spiritual or recreational purposes, suggesting potential spiritual and moral dangers associated with psychedelic use. Now, we know there will always be a conflict between capital and labor, or worker and employer, or slave and free. Nevertheless, we as believers approach our work and finances differently in order to be witnesses to the world. The opposite of that are those who hoard their wealth and amass it on the backs of people. 2 Timothy 3:2 explains this sin. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. The age of man's greatest intellectual and material achievement is marked by a race for money and vast accumulation of wealth, contrasted with misery and poverty of the masses. As James 5:1-3 states, go now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Yes, heap treasure together for the last days, which we are certainly in. Now, this next art headline, Trump, God bless the USA singer Lee Greenwood, partner up to sell his $59.99 Bible. This venture comes as Trump, ridiculed for awkwardly holding a Bible in front of the church 4 years ago, is reportedly strapped for cash. And we don't know if that's the case, but we do know he's selling Bibles for $60. And it discusses President Trump's unconventional approach to fundraising by selling personalized Bibles on his social media platform, Truth Social, during Holy Week of all weeks. Amid financial challenges and legal battles, Trump's team launched this initiative to raise funds for his political endeavors. These Bibles, including Trump's signature, even has a signature, and selected scripture verses, are marketed as a collector's item and are priced at about $37 each. While some supporters have praised this initiative, others criticize it as a cynical attempt to exploit religious sentiment for financial gain. Additionally, the article highlights the broader trend of politicians leveraging social media and e-commerce platforms for fundraising purposes. This move underscores Trump's ongoing influence within the conservative religious base and his efforts to maintain relevance in the political arena despite setbacks and controversies. I don't know if I should laugh at this, but any Bible that is tattooed with the US flag is foolish on so many levels. Please check the archives of Perhaps Today video where Ray Vassar and I discuss Christian nationalism and the danger of it. The Bible emphasizes principles of integrity, reverence, and respect. Selling a Bible with a US flag on it potentially could raise questions about the motives and appropriateness of such action. In Matthew 21:12-13, Jesus overturns the tables of the money changers in the temple, demonstrating a disdain for exploiting religious symbols for profit. Additionally, 1 Corinthians 10:31 teaches, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. This implies that our actions should be motivated by a desire to honor God rather than personal gain or political agendas. And now for our global weather report. And here are just some headlines. South Sudan closes schools in preparation for 45 degrees Celsius heat wave. Cyclone warning in Australia while Finland freezes in 16 below Celsius lows. Indonesia floods cause landslides and disruption to transportation. Luke 21:11 states, there will be great earthquakes, famines, pestilence in various places, and fearful events and great signs from heaven. And now finally, we end with some future news from the heavens. As the planet prepares for the solar eclipse here next week, our scientists believe they have deciphered what we might hear. This headline says, Space makes noise, and here's the eerie song an eclipse sings. Thought you could only experience an astronomical event with your eyes? Well, now we have scientists that are allow us to experience these events with our ears. It delves into the phenomena of eclipse songs, where people report hearing strange noises during solar eclipses, ranging from buzzing to chanting. Scientists have attributed these sounds to various natural phenomena, including changes in atmospheric pressure and temperature, as well as psychological effects like expectation bias. Some cultures interpret these sounds as spiritual or supernatural, associating them with myths and folklore surrounding eclipses. From a scriptural perspective, while there are no explicit mentions of eclipse related sounds in the Bible, scripture emphasizes God's control over celestial events, including eclipses, as signs of his power and sovereignty. However, there's no specific mention of accompanying sound during eclipses. Therefore, believers are encouraged to approach such phenomena with discernment and to interpret them within the context of their faith while also considering scientific explanations of natural phenomena. After this April 8th eclipse, we will deal more in depth with this phenomena and the potential significance each event poses for our understanding. We understand that prior to Jesus' first advent, there was a great star in the sky announcing his arrival. And so we are reminded by Jesus we would see signs in the sun, moon, and stars prior to his second advent. So according to Luke 21:25, saying, there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and upon the earth the stress of nations with perplexity, the seas and the waves roaring. And so we should expect to see more of that, and we will certainly highlight these for you as they continue to occur.
We invite you to check out our Etsy shop and support our channel at the link in the description. Thanks for your support.
Well, that is all we have for this week. Thank you for tuning in to the Perhaps Today Global News Report. Come quickly, Lord Jesus, perhaps today.